Hello, and thank you for attending our 2020 Perfect Vision class group presentation. Our team consists of Kacie Derby, Ryan Mica, Tom Muzzey, Jeanie Smith, and myself, Cindy Lawson. We named our group the Bobcat Team, which will be explained to you shortly. The Bobcat Team group project goal was to partner with a local non-for-profit called Neighbor Helping Neighbor Service Coalition and determine what type of support is most needed at this time. To quickly summarize, during the course of our project, we researched, planned, and executed an effort to increase community awareness and program resources to support Neighbor Helping Neighbor's most urgent organizational needs. As a starting place, we contacted and met with the director of Neighbor Helping Neighbor, Matt Miller. Matt provided an overview of the services offered by Neighbor Helping Neighbor, which is run out of Calvary Church in St. Charles. Let's take a moment to review how Neighbor Helping Neighbor provides support for our community. Neighbor Helping Neighbor provides families with innovative strategies with the goal of helping them find economic independence. This goal is achieved through combined efforts from community members, local businesses, and faith-based organizations. Through the services provided to the community, Neighbor Helping Neighbor, in essence, teaches the recipients of their services how to fish versus just giving them the fish. Now let's look at how Neighbor Helping Neighbor endeavors to achieve those provided. The key to the services provided to our community by Neighbor Helping Neighbor are strong alliances that they create through agency partnerships. They connect community members in need with the agencies that will help them achieve independence. They do this by establishing relationships with people so they receive consistent supportive care over a long period of time so they can break the cycle of living from crisis to crisis. Next, Kacie will provide more insight into the two main sleeves of work at Neighbor Helping Neighbor: the system of care referral system and school resources system.
So like Cindy said, it's a system of care referral program, and there's two pieces to it. So the one piece is a referral program where partners, community partners that kind of she mentioned, are paired up with the families and the children who need the help, and then they provide kind of crisis intervention and support and things when needed. The side that we decided to focus on is the school resource system. And what Neighbor Helping Neighbor does is they manage a resource needs list for specific schools in St. Charles County to provide school supplies, clothing, hygiene items, sometimes diapers, other things that these kids are going to school that they just don't have and the parents can't afford. And then they try to get these things donated from partners like Vision Leadership and other places that bring the things in. Initially, we had talked about having like a warehouse or a place, a facility where the things could be stored, but that turned out to be a pretty lofty goal and something we couldn't sustain. And then kind of in looking at other things, we found that there are other places who do this, like maybe a mom or somebody from the PTO or a teacher manages a Facebook page where if a student needs a pair of shoes, they would say, a student needs a pair of shoes. Somebody says they'll get the pair of shoes and they come. We didn't think that was realistic either because we could try that for a year, but how are we going to keep that up? So that's how we ended up. We'll talk more about kind of what we came up with. But right now, the way it is set up for the schools that they do it with is like you see in the picture. So basically, the school needs list is maintained by Neighbor Helping Neighbor, and they have all their community partners. So the schools then identify the children in need and what they need. They tell Neighbor Helping Neighbor, who reaches out to the partners, and then they bring these things to the shed or the facility where they're stored. That way, when the students need these, they are immediately given to them. From there, the child or the family may be referred to the full like crisis intervention portion of this if they need more support, or if not, if they just need, a pair of shoes or a backpack, they can get that. And the goal of this is that the child feels cared for and then can work and focus on school and becoming a contributing successful member of society rather than worrying about their basic needs of food and shelter and things like that. And then the family knows that the community cares about them and becomes more involved in the community rather than kind of feeling like an outsider in their community. And then Ryan's going to tell you about what school we chose.
Yes. So we wanted to make the greatest possible impact. So originally we wanted to do the whole school district, but with our resources and time, we thought it would be a better idea to focus on one school so we could make the biggest difference. So we ended up choosing the Blackhurst Bobcats. That's why we are Team Bobcat. We found, based on data, that they were the neediest school within the district of St. Charles. Data showed that Blackhurst Elementary currently provides free or reduced lunch for 52% of their students. So we knew that it was a school that was really in need, so we wanted to focus on them. So we really need to put an action plan in place. Next slide, please. So we wanted to put this plan into place where we could really help the school. So we needed good partners. We needed to organize the drive so we could collect all the items and give them to the school. We knew in order to do it effectively, we had to have good community outreach. So we needed to create and execute a media plan for that drive. And then we wanted to kind of establish a long-term plan so we could facilitate ongoing support of the elementary school and continue to help them out. So what we put together were a couple partners. We started with the great Kyle Gaines in the St. Charles Ambulance District. They were so great. They dropped off an ambulance for us. They committed to an ambulance for us. And we originally wanted to go somewhere like Target or Walmart or something like that for higher traffic. But unfortunately, for liability reasons that I understand, we had to pivot, and we pivoted to the Lindenwood Insurance Agency to set up the drive. From there, we're going to fill the ambulance with all different types of needed supplies. So luckily for us on our team, we have a media ace in Jeanie Smith. So we put our action plan into place with the media. We created flyers, posted them at local businesses. We promoted on KFAV and Joy FM. We promoted on Facebook, especially with the Vision alumni. Lindenwood Agency promoted on their media outlets, and KSDK, where Jeanie comes in, was really helpful in promoting for us. And the event was to be hosted at the agency on the 15th of last month, and we managed it in shifts. And I'll let Jeanie kind of take it from there.
So the way that we did it was we decided that on Sunday, the 15th of March, we would all come together and we would have the ambulance delivered, and we would break the day into shifts so that we each could be there for a couple of hours and not freeze, because turns out March 15th of 2020 was really cold and windy. And it was the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. This was the first weekend that people started practicing social distancing. And that really kind of threw a wrench into our plan, because approaching people and asking them to bring you things, and you obviously have to talk to them, made it a little bit difficult. But no matter what, it all turned out to be a really great day. And as you can see here, the ambulance came around, I guess it was 10 or 11 in the morning, and that's when the first donation came in. So I'm going to go to this next slide and show you a little bit of what it looked like. Or at least I think I'm going to. Hang on, I don't know how to do it. It might not play in here. This is not good. Hang on. I don't know why it won't play here.
I hear a lot of clicking going on, Jeanie.
Well, I mean, hang on. What if I just do it this way? Sorry, guys. Can we edit this?
I'm part of a team from Vision St. Charles Leadership Group, class of 2020. And our group project this year was to collect new clothing and donation of school supplies for local elementary schools here in St. Charles. So there are several schools in the area that have partnered with Calvary Church, and they're noted to have more need, if you will, in the district than some others. So Calvary actually contracted with some people a couple years ago in a similar project, and they put up top sheds on all of the school campuses. And these children that sometimes come to school without socks on, their shoes are torn up, they don't have a coat and it's winter, they don't have the pencils and the notebooks that they need for school, and they can just go out to the shed and get something for them so that they don't lose any time in school, and they're presentably dressed so that they're like all the other kids and they don't stand out. So it's an awesome program, yeah. Just thank you for coming out. It's a cold day in St. Louis, right? And with all the virus concerns, but we promise, because it's so cold and we're just in a parking lot that's a germ-free zone. So you're safe if you want to come out and bring something.
So as you can see, we had quite a few donations, and they ranged from, some people, one lady gave us a $50 bill, which was great. And then I just went into Schnucks and purchased more colored pencils and more glue and more notebooks. And at the end of the day, the ambulance wasn't completely full, but our hearts were full for what we were able to give this school and the way we were able to help. And, I feel like you can see here on the right, Matt Miller, he's with the church who started Neighbor Helping Neighbor. And, he was all smiles, and he was really excited to be able to help fill up the sheds with the items we had been able to collect. So that shows you a little bit of what our day looked like. And let me get this slide back up here. Now, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Tom Muzzey to wrap up the presentation here.
Okay, to wrap up, the most important part of the presentation as we near the end. So it was a great project, and the teammates were awesome, and it was a very worthwhile cause. So I'm very, very happy that we were able to do that and participate and help one of our local schools here. The good news is that the event was successful, but overall, we do not believe this is something that we would be able to continue to do as an ongoing project. We really feel this problem lies within that particular area of the community, and we need more involvement from someone from within that school or from within that neighborhood to continue to grow that or continue that program as it went. But overall, it was very successful for the school for what we were able to do. But we did have limitations, as it was mentioned, with the weather and then also the coronavirus. So at this time, I'd like to take any questions. Mark, if you would have questions, or we can take calls on the call-in line, whatever works.
Hey, I'm in the group, so I don't know if I can ask questions, but I can't go without asking.
Jeanie Smith, KSTK, go ahead.
I have a question for you, Dr. Muzzey. So what do you think was the biggest challenge, the biggest obstacle to complete a project like this?
I think this project would be more successful prior to the start of school. When you're talking about school supplies, it's on everyone's mind. Unfortunately, we kind of got in that March time period, and that was spring break, and then all the other things that we mentioned were obstacles. But if this was something that you would do, prior to the start of school, late summer, I think it would be really successful.
Hey, Mark, do you have any questions for our group?
I do not at this time, but this is posted on our alumni Facebook page. We're going to encourage them to be able to ask questions or to provide you guys with additional resources. So it will be available and put up then on our Facebook page so that our alumni and board members can also participate in this as well.
Awesome. Well, if anybody watches this and they want to get involved, please reach out to one of us and we would be happy to connect you so that we can try to keep helping this group moving forward.